Welcome to our last asynchronous session for this class. This is the week 6 session. We're going to be talking about context today and using context as a clue to the meaning of a word or a phrase in a paragraph or a sentence, etc. This really helps us identify, meaning in trying to determine central ideas, trying to identify which elements of a paragraph are supporting details, or which elements are an argument. So we're going to talk specifically about those context elements, synonym, antonym, and the overall feel or tone of a sentence. But basically when we use context, when I say what is context, basically just means using the overall elements of a section, whether it's a sentence or a paragraph, to help determine content and meaning. So we use synonyms, antonyms, and a lot of times the overall feel or tone of a sentence. So let's start with synonyms. Now this is something that hopefully you're familiar with. A synonym is a word or a phrase that means the same or close to the same thing as another word. So when we take a look at a synonym, we should be able to determine if there are two words in a sentence that we're trying to determine the meaning of. We can use those words to help determine the meaning. So for example, the new freeway on-ramp improved the flow of traffic and enhanced my drive to work. Now, if I don't understand what the enhanced, let's say I don't know what the word enhanced means. If I'm trying to determine the meaning of this word enhanced, I can use the context clue of this word improved. The new freeway on-ramp improved the flow of traffic. Well, when something is improved, it gets better, right? So if I've improved the flow of traffic, then my drive to work is enhanced. My drive to work must also have been improved, correct? So by looking at not understanding what the word enhanced is, I use the word improved to help determine the meaning of the word enhanced. So the opposite is true for an antonym. An antonym is a word or a phrase that means the opposite. So we use antonyms to determine the meaning of a word because it's the opposite. So if I have a similar sentence that says, the closure of the freeway on-ramp impeded the flow of traffic, but once the repairs are made, it will enhance my drive to work. Okay, so I've got the word enhance, and I've got the word impeded. Now, if I want to know what the word impeded means, the closure of the freeway on-ramp impeded the flow of traffic. So that makes it more difficult, right? If something is impeded, it makes it more difficult. And I know that because if the freeway on-ramp is closed, the word impeded must mean that the flow of traffic is not moving very well. But now if I look at the word enhanced, I've got the word but here, but once the repairs are made, it will enhance my drive to work. Okay, so right now my flow is impeded, not going very well, but then it's going to get better. It's going to be enhanced. So I'm utilizing these two words to help determine the meaning of each of them. I'm also using what's the next section, which is the overall tone. I'm using the other words in the sentence to gather an understanding. I used the word closure in this sentence, and I used this word but here. So those also help me determine the meaning of these two antonyms. If I'm talking about overall tone, it means I'm looking at the other words in the sentence to gather an understanding. I might not have an antonym or synonym in the sentence in which to determine the meaning of a word. So if I were to say, our trip to Disneyland was a fiasco, there were so many people we waited in line for 2 hours for each ride. Okay, so the word fiasco is the pink word, and that's the word I need to determine the meaning of. So if I say our trip to Disneyland was a fiasco, there were so many people we waited in line for 2 hours for each ride. That means that we have, nobody wants to wait for 2 hours for each ride, right? So the word fiasco means a disaster. All right, so your first letter, or your first 3 letters today in your access code is PLNA, PLNA, and in the next section I will give you the next few letters of the access code.